Hey there guys, so Anthony Joshua will be deep into camp preparing for Andy Ruiz Jr., his rematch that will take place on December 7th. Now, Anthony Joshua will be focusing on a few things in his camp, a few things that he done wrong last time, and he will pick apart the first fight between him and Andy Ruiz Jr. so that he might find a remedy to Andy Ruiz Jr.'s assaults, especially on the inside. Now obviously the first thing that Anthony Joshua has done, and he has confirmed, that he has been cutting weight. He is trying to be a lot lighter for the rematch, a lot quicker on his feet. Now, in the first fight, Anthony Joshua had prepared long and hard for Jarrell Miller. Now, in that fight, he was not bulking up, but I think in the training, he was focusing more on heavier weight and lower repetitions. Now, obviously, this was to gain more strength and be stronger on the inside in the clinch and grappling if he needed to. That is what he was focusing on for Jarrell Miller. But against Andy Ruiz Jr., he brought a completely different skill set. Ruiz was a rugged inside fighter, not necessarily just a boxer, but he just loved to have a tear up. And when Anthony Joshua hurt and dropped Andy Ruiz Jr., Andy Ruiz Jr. came back with a vengeance, wanting to hurt Joshua back. And that was something maybe Jarrell Miller wouldn't have done. Jarrell Miller maybe would have tried to hold on, and in that instance, Anthony Joshua, working on that strength training, probably would have been able to pull himself free and finish Jarrell Miller off. Now, Andy Ruiz Jr.'s game plan was not to grab hold. When he was hurt, his idea was, I can land some shots of my own now. Fight fire with fire. That is what Andy Ruiz Jr.'s plan was. And Anthony Joshua was not ready for that. He was prepared for Jarrell Miller, who, when he got hurt, probably would have just tried to grab hold and use his physical size in order to smother Joshua and make it through the round. Whereas, as I said, Andy Ruiz Jr.'s idea was, I can hurt him back. I'm going to go and fight fire with fire. Andy Ruiz Jr. is an out-and-out fighter, and that is what he brought to the table on June 1st, and that is what he will also bring to the table on December 7th. But this time, Anthony Joshua will be ready for it. So as I said, Anthony Joshua will pick apart the first fight and see where he went wrong and try and rectify everything that went wrong in that fight. Now, Rob McCracken has explained and confirmed that Anthony Joshua will be a lot smarter in the rematch, trying to box Andy Ruiz Jr. at range and use his physical attributes to nullify the threat of Andy Ruiz Jr., which is of course inside fighting and obviously his speed, which was a big problem for Anthony Joshua. That caused Joshua a lot of problems. And on the inside, Ruiz is surprisingly strong as well. He picks good punches and he can get those short shots away because he has shorter arms and he can work those body shots really well. And that is what tired Anthony Joshua leading up to the stoppage. Anthony Joshua could not recover from that big punch and the big assault from Andy Ruiz Jr. in the third round. And the body shots were part of the reason for that. Now, the last camp, as I said, Joshua was focusing on Jarrell Miller. That was his fight, and he had a lot of animosity built up for Jarrell Miller. And he was preparing for a big guy who was about 300 pounds. Ridiculously big and physically imposing, whereas Ruiz was slightly smaller. He was still quite chubby and he didn't look that great, but he was a lot faster and a lot more compact. That is what Joshua also struggled with, trying to find a way to pick Andy Ruiz Jr. apart, because Ruiz made himself small, whereas Jarrell Miller would have probably been an easier target for Anthony Joshua to hit. Now, in the rematch, Anthony Joshua will have a full camp to focus solely on Andy Ruiz Jr. and focus and tailor his game plan to Andy Ruiz Jr.'s skill set and try and utilize his angles and movement to make things uncomfortable in there for Andy Ruiz Jr. In the first fight, he was prepared for a completely different skill set and physicality than what was in front of him. As I said, he was focusing more on being in there with a heavy guy, someone who is physically imposing, someone who is probably a little bit more easy to hit, and someone who is probably going to trade more at the medium to long range distance. Whereas Andy Ruiz Jr. is an out-and-out inside fighter. Jarrell Miller is not necessarily an inside fighter. So that was part of the game that Anthony Joshua was not prepared and ready for. But Andy Ruiz Jr. brung it, and Anthony Joshua did not have an answer to it last time, but this time he will, because Anthony Joshua will have a full camp focusing purely on Andy Ruiz Jr. so he can find a remedy to his inside fighting, his fast hands, and also his combination punching. Anthony Joshua has faced the best Andy Ruiz Jr. on June 1st in Madison Square Garden, whereas Andy Ruiz Jr. has not yet faced the best Anthony Joshua. So Andy Ruiz does not know what Joshua is fully capable of in the ring, and that could be a deciding factor in the rematch. But anyway, guys, what are your thoughts on this rematch, and how do you believe Anthony Joshua will prepare for it? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, click the thumbs up, and subscribe if you are new. Thanks, guys.